Hey, we're with Sue Flynn. Let's take another cut. That was really terrible. We'll cut it off at the beginning. Hey, we're with Sue Flynn today, and she is Senior Account Executive at People Strategy. Sue, thanks for joining us today.
Hi, John. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be on your new podcast.
Oh, this is excellent. So it's impact over income, and I get the gift of getting to interview so many of my friends, and you are one of those. So you've been forewarned that you actually are a friend, not just a business associate or a connection on LinkedIn. And what I love is we get to talk about the positive ways that there have been people making impacts in our life, or how our career choices have made an impact in others. And again, this is going to be in fourth quarter, and it's a very challenging time for advisors. It's a very busy time. What a wonderful opportunity to hear from people and leaders in the industry, how they've seen positive impacts because of what they're doing. So if you don't mind, Sue, just give us a little snapshot of what's going on in Sue's world right now.
I'm enjoying summer as we have a little slowdown time because it's summer now. I'm sure this is going to be airing when it's the fourth quarter,
Yeah,
because I always get that wrong in podcasts.
that's good.
But right now, I'm enjoying a little calmness before the fourth quarter, getting myself organized, um, trying to sneak in a couple vacations and different type of work meetings where you can have these conversations and not be totally stressed out fitting it in.
That's if you don't mind me asking, are you right now in New York? I know sometimes you're different places around the country. Are you currently in New York City, or are you somewhere else?
I'm currently in New York.
Okay.
So I'm actually near Rockaway Beach, which is part of Queens. It's funny because Queens has a beautiful beach. So I'm working remotely. Um, and then I can take a little run in the morning and jump in the ocean and then work all day.
Well, again, that's something that you've made. That's one of the many ways you've made a positive impact in my life, is your commitment to running. And I'll never forget, I believe it was actually like the first time that we met. We were going to work out a group of us. I won't mention any names, but one sounds like Lester Morales. We were going to go to Planet Fitness, and I honestly thought you were going to meet us there running, which was several miles away. But you actually ran around the city, right? You went around, you took a jog around
Yeah.
Austin, and so I am very passionate about my workout regiment, to be consistent with that, and you are so consistent with that. And anyone who is consistent, persistent, and patient really makes an impact to me. And you manifest all three of those. So I want you to know that you're making an impact in people's lives. You might not always hear that, but you may want in mind, and you do. And I am so excited about the various posts you've been doing on LinkedIn and how you share some of those stories. I believe they really resonate with a lot of people. And you might not always get that feedback. So I want to make sure that you get it from me, because it's genuine and sincere.
Well, thanks. And it's funny because you guys have made a huge impact on me too. Like your dedication, getting up. I mean, I always like to tour the city when I go somewhere for work, and it's the way I see things. But to know there's other people that have that start their day, get it going. It for me, it really adds a lot of organization and structure to the day. Because it's a nice way to almost meditate, even though you're working
Mm.
out, clears your head, things get organized. And even the LinkedIn posts, it's funny, I took a little break from them, but I found that people don't care if I put work things on LinkedIn. They like the running things. Like even I bump into business people around town and they'd be like, "You've been running all over the place. I love it. Keep it up." So I guess it just helps them see a consistent thing in their life. And that also was a great positive reinforcement for me, but
Mm.
also is kind of cool to know that that is a little bit of a fun impact, like a connection you make that you're not even knowing you're doing. So and I try to make it relevant for work, but sometimes it's just, again, getting up and getting stuff done to get my day stuff done going.
Yeah, and that is so powerful when you're being transparent, because people buy from people, and I think sometimes people are a little afraid of being transparent, but we don't have to share everything about ourselves, just letting people see into our world. So it is making a difference, what you do on LinkedIn, and you're a transparent person, and I just so appreciate you. So I wanted you to know that. I know you like to jog, but what are some other things that you like to do that will make a positive impact for you, either professionally or personally?
Well, most people know that I'm very into volunteerism. I started when I actually joined the Junior League, which is not a kids thing. It's a women's organization to meet people when I moved to the town I live in New Jersey. And it really promotes volunteerism. And I kind of fell into a couple different things like my advocacy work with human trafficking. And I have some programs I do with it around with other, other people. And more so that has provided such a positive impact for me personally, which has fed into my professional, because I just know I'm a firm believer if you can go to bed every night thinking I had positive impact on one person today, it was a great day. And whether that positive impact was smiling, I know it sounds silly when someone's walking down the street, you say hi and it changed their day. You never know. It could really change their life. Not to sound corny about that. Work-wise, just I love my business relationships with my clients. I think that I'm a huge fan, work and life, in what I call the sticky factor. So the more we interact and we build that business relationship, I think it obviously brings value to me and my work and keeps people around, but it really creates a good impact feeling for me. Working remotely, I don't know everybody in my company very well, like you used to back in the day when you were always in the office together and you meet all the different people, whether it's the guy that's like cleaning the office or gal that's cleaning the office, or, you just meet different people. So having a strong relationship with my clients is really one of the biggest things for a positive impact in my professional life.
That's great. And I'm going to go back to what you said about, I know you help with, a number of organizations, not just locally there, but also globally, right? When it comes to trafficking. And I hear it said so many times and in different ways that when we give, oftentimes when we're passionate about making an impact in a ministry or some type of outreach like that, or some community service, our heart might be involved in really trying to give and help them. But oftentimes we feel like we've been given something, right? Would you say that's true?
Yeah, I feel it's very selfish sometimes. I know it sounds backwards, but I feel it's selfish because I feel very empowered, whether it's the human trafficking work. I'm also on the board of this organization called Advocates for Children of New Jersey. And it's really the mission of the organization is to provide information so every child can have an equal thriving opportunity in education and family structure. And again, it's a little bit of my time. I don't know. You don't always have to give money. I give a little bit of my time and I get a lot out of it personally.
That's fantastic.
We always need money though,
Well, again, this is called impact over income, but we're allowed, right? We're allowed to do both, right? We're allowed to be making an income and be making an impact in people's lives. And from what you're saying, you're doing both, right? So that's exciting.
Yeah, it is. It's great, and again, you meet a lot of different people when you're involved with other organizations outside of work. So it's really nice.
So something I'd like to understand, if you don't mind sharing with us, is who are those people who have played a role in your life by making an impact in Sioux?
Gosh, I think that it sounds funny, but like going to when I was a kid, I had some trauma in my family growing up, and the local community, really people coming together and just being there, started there. And it taught me that wherever I am, whether it's a work community, my town community, volunteer community, the local community really gives me the best opportunity to become a better Sioux. And also professionally, there's been a few people, just meeting along the way. And it sounds funny, a lot of them I met from running. And then some I met running. Really, most people I met running, and it turned into work opportunities. Just, I guess, knowing that you're accountable. Runners are funny people. I always say we're weird. I can say that because I am a runner. But you show up, you're accountable, just like with us going to the gym. It brings a different force of what you learn about someone. So I've met a lot of people that have made such a positive impact, showing commitment, whether it's meeting me out for a run, or just getting to know each other. And you're like, wow, you have such a busy life, but you're still doing it all. But a lot of it really comes down, again, that creates my running community. And I have a lot of different segments of my life to, I've got my parenting community, my neighborhood community, my running community, my work community. So I know it sounds kind of funny, and there's definitely people that have made, individuals that have been awesome making impacts in my life, but I want to give credit to everybody.
Wow, that's great. Now, you mentioned community many times there. If you don't mind sharing, in those formative years, right, when you started feeling like these things were making a positive impact to me, what did community look like? Did you live in a rural community, urban community? What did community look like?
So I grew up in Twin Falls, Idaho. Most people don't realize that because I love the city. And it was a city in Idaho, but that means it was like a small little suburb in the rest of the world. We were the city that had the big stores like the Costco, though, so that was the hub. But it was a rural community, and it was really people that were supportive through people that may have met like my mom's work or even our church. I'm Catholic, from a very strong Catholic faith family. And so those people came together, and just even, I'm the youngest of four girls, and my older sister's friends, being really nice people coming together and just being there.
That's excellent. And I forgot that you were originally from Idaho. So that's a great reminder. Great reminder. Because I'm so used to seeing you, being around New York City and even other places. It's always an urban location where we ever get to catch up. What are some ways your career has made a positive impact in people's lives? And that could be, locally, that could be globally, however. What are some of those career things that you've seen, impact others?
Well, it's funny because I used to say, oh, insurance is so boring. That's why I do the volunteer work. I get so much more out of it. And over the years, even like an Uber driver, I'm a chatty person, and they'll be like, wow, your job's so important. And they help me realize that helping people understand their benefits and using them correctly, which sounds silly, but apparently after doing it as long as I have, it's like second nature to me. But most people don't understand it. And it's a really important aspect. You shouldn't have to worry about your insurance when you're sick. So I think that being able to effectively explain and have people have a comfort level to come, like I don't generally talk to employees. I'm a broker, but if someone has something of confidential nature, when I'm doing open enrollment meetings or something, I'm like, come to me so we can make sure that you're getting things done right. So I think that I make a big positive impact with people understanding their benefits. It becomes an emotional issue, especially if you're going through something big, but also it's an emotional stress with financial if you're not using your stuff correctly and you have a cost that you might not need to have.
So that's interesting. So again, you talked about the emotional benefits there and also the financial ones, which that makes sense. I mean, people get passionate about their health, right? And also their money. So those two play a big part of people's stress and also their well-being. But what's your why behind this? I mean, I know you're successful. I know you're very humble about how successful you've been. And that's another story we can get into perhaps another time, but that's a wonderful trait of yours. But what's your why? You've talked about some things in your background, but why would you want to make an impact in others as opposed to just be solely focused on an income?
I just have a heart. I mean, I don't have an answer to why. It's just how I'm wired. Like I am not a sucker, but I am empathetic with people, and I don't want people to be in pain unnecessarily. It's I don't like to sound corny, but life is too short to have those issues if you don't need them.
Well, that's a powerful statement right there. So there's going to be a number of people listening or perhaps watching this in the fourth quarter, a very stressful time. It can be very easy to just be focused on GSD, right? And not be focused at all about others, and can be so busy with our tasks. So what would you say to somebody who might be just having a lot of stress? They're just so focused on their work. What would you say to them to encourage them to take their eyes a little bit off themselves and maybe invest a little bit more in making an impact in people's lives, what bit of advice would you share with them?
Well, like I'm not perfect. We all get stressed out. We've all been on the phone call with a customer service person and ready to just go crazy, even though it's not their fault. I think that even if you're in that moment, and I've done this and it's embarrassing, where I've apologized to the person I'm getting mad at. I know it's not their fault. And I'm like, I know you're just the messenger. I just can't control this anymore. I think even if you're in that moment of stress, you got to recognize it and take a break. Doesn't matter what you do. I mean, I call take a non-smoker smoking break. Go out, I always got jealous. I'm not a smoker, never have been, but I used to get jealous. They used to go take a break, to smoke. And I'm like, I'm going to take a cup of water and take my non-smoking break. And just, you've got to remove yourself from the situation. And it's so hard when you're in that busy fourth quarter to remember, like, I have had to put time in my calendar to go eat lunch because I'll forget. I'll just work. I'm wired that way. And just, if that's what you need to do, stress begets stress. So unless you take that time to figure out what will give you that minute of release and reduce it, your brain will get more organized and you'll be able to do it more.
I found that very interesting that, we opened up our conversation talking about what you do to make an impact in yourself. And that's actually how we ended up here today at the very end, is you talking about, investing and making that impact in ourselves. And sometimes we might look at that as being selfish instead of self-care, right? And that little break can go a long way. And I'm not going to condone the smoking of cigars, but that's what I benefit from, because you're sort of married to that moment, and it's going to be 45 minutes. And not necessarily is that the thing to do every day. I don't do that every day. For my nursing friends that are out there listening, no, I do not do that. But the power of a break, giving your mind that pause, and there's some data that actually says a 20-minute break without your cell phone and without any other distraction, you will return back to your job 87% more productive. I know that data, but you reminded me of the power of that again. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. And I've actually taken a cigar break with you where I didn't even smoke the cigar.
and I tried desperately for you not to inhale the smoke from me either. So that was
that's my choice.
Well, that's excellent. This has been wonderful having you. Any final words you might want to share with our audience about making an impact over an income?
I think that when people make a positive impact, everything will flow in a positive direction and your opportunity for income may actually expand and grow.
Well, again, that's wonderful. Again, with Sue Flynn here today. She's with People Strategy, and it's always a great time talking with you, Sue. Thank you so much for this discussion. And to everyone who's listening out there or watching this episode, don't forget, every day is a great day to make an impact in someone's life. Have a great day, everyone.